You know, this channel started with one main political topic that we harped on again and again. Because over here, we're big believers that repetition is important. A hell of a lot happening. And if you hear about something only once, that's probably not enough to retain the necessary information. That topic was that Donald Trump's a damn criminal. Now, we've since switched to the Republican Party is a criminal organization. And that is, let me just see, what's that loud internet sound coming in? Oh, yeah, that's the facts. However, doesn't mean that we shouldn't enjoy the downfall of people who need to fall down. To that end, Wicked Foxy Dragon's future ex-husband, Brian Tyler Cohen, recently put out some news, which I think I know who he's talking about. And if you haven't heard, you're going to want to hear this.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown. So, Glenn, we've got some news here with major implications for Trump's classified documents case. He reportedly...
Oh, Glenn Kirshner. Hold on. Yeah. Documents case. It's going to be good. Don't worry. But I can't concentrate unless I address this. Glenn Kirshner, look at you. What did you get a tan? Did you change your settings on the camera a little bit there? He's looking fine, right? He's well put together. All right. Major breakthrough in the documents case. What is it, folks?
He wrote to-do lists for his assistant, Molly Michael, on White House materials with visible classified markings on them, because apparently one man's classified documents is another man's Post-it notes. Can this be used against him in his federal trial in Florida?
Oh, it can be and will be. And this reporting is jaw-dropping because this former executive assistant, Molly Michael, who reportedly was with Trump since 2018, transitioned with him down to Mar-a-Lago when he left the presidency. Boy, there is some blockbuster evidence that we are now learning about that she provided to the FBI and to the federal prosecutors. For example, when Donald Trump knew that the FBI was going to be interviewing Miss Michael about the boxes, she quotes Donald Trump as telling her, "You don't know anything about the boxes." If that is not some straight up mob talk, I don't know what is. But
hold on. Again, that face is how I felt when hearing about Molly Michaels. Good golly, Miss Molly. Trump's thoroughly. Help me out here, because you guys are significantly more culturally educated than I could ever hope to be. What is that Busta Rhymes song that's like ha 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 ha? Like the beat is just Busta Rhymes enjoying himself saying ha for a while. Imagine I could remember the name of that song and I had the forethought to clip it and play it right here in your head. And then in your mind palace, this stream will be what I wished I would have done for it. Anyway, Trump's fucked. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Trump's fucked. This is what we have been saying will happen. Didn't take a tremendous amount of predictive power. I think everybody, if you're a progressive who engages in a lot of online analysis, then you will have heard a lot of people saying this. The dominoes are falling. When one person flips, everybody else who might flip goes, "Oh, I should flip." I know I'm not important to Donald Trump because nobody is important to Donald Trump except Donald Trump. I'm flipping because this dude expects me to go down for him. And despite the fact that he thinks he can make people do that, he sure can't. Flipping like flapjacks, I love it. Break it down, Glenn Kirshner, with your fine ass.
But it is so deeply incriminating.
Now, I want to focus on that moment in particular. When Trump did tell her, "You don't know anything," what could that moment in particular mean in this trial?
Looks like a
You know, it
majestic
means
eagle.
so much to prosecutors, Brian, because one, it shows that Donald Trump knew what he was doing was wrong and he was trying to cover it up. Not only was he trying to cover it up, which proves his consciousness of guilt. There can be no mistaking that he thought he was lawfully possessing these government documents, because if he was, he would not have had to tell his executive assistant, you tell the FBI you don't know anything about the boxes. But it is an incriminating twofer because it can also serve as the basis to bring a witness tampering charge. Now, we don't know if additional charges will be added by Jack Smith, but it sure feels like they could be based on this evidence, this revelation. Because when you tell a witness who is about to be interviewed by the FBI about your crimes, don't tell them what you know. That is heartland witness tampering. So, whether we will see more charges brought or whether Jack Smith will just exploit this directly incriminating evidence at trial remains to be seen.
Well, it's clear that this would be directly incriminating evidence, but I guess how admissible is everything? Because,
Want to thank the Anti-Corporatist and Groove Dragon. A collective effort here. Groove Dragon got the specific. It's Woo-Ha, Got You All in Check song by Busta Rhymes. Why, that's quite correct. I just had a very quick gander, and it was a delightful background to these two breaking it down. Yes, that is the song. Woo-Ha, we got Trump all in check. Back to it with both of these dapper gentlemen.
In what sense is this just her word against his, or on the flip side, is this a home run? Because when you have a witness with firsthand testimony, you assume in trial that they're telling the truth and you defer to what they're saying.
Yeah, this is, if not a home run, it's a pretty strong triple. It's probably an in the park home run, because when you have a witness with no apparent axe to grind against Donald Trump, I mean, she left with him from the White House. She continued to work for him down at Mar-a-Lago. Doesn't seem like she's an angry Democrat, as Donald Trump is always calling his critics. And that person provides direct, firsthand, incriminating information out of the mouth of the defendant. I think we toss around the term he said, she said. First of all, in Donald Trump's trial, there will be no he said, because he cannot testify. If he testifies, that would be the final nail in his coffin with respect to guilty verdicts. So it will be she said, and he is not even going to be in a position to rebut it. Now, his attorneys might try to knock down her credibility by digging up.
Hold up. Let's appreciate what a devastating thing that is. Now, I realize that Trump voters don't really care about the truth. That's a reality we're going to have to deal with. But Lady Justice sure does. And the fact that Trump is unable, he cannot not take the stand in his own defense is devastating. It's just devastating. That is, let me center a little bit. That is not something. I understand that most criminal defendants are advised, probably in some capacity, to not testify. But if you can't, because the simple act of opening your mouth keeps putting you in legal jeopardy, well, his mouth has been open and flapping for a long, long time. He's felt real confident that the legal system is incapable of holding him to account for anything. I know I've been partying, let's say, quite a lot lately. I just really want to stress to you that now is the time when you can, if you're in this business. if you're watching, you have a lot longer than I. But these are the good times. These are the good times. I mean, hell, I don't have to say might. There are going to be things that we're going to have to be ready to act quick on. We're going to have to worry about the terrorists this guy inspires and yada, yada, yada. Okay. But can't be denied that 1 year ago, not that long ago, folks, there was no sign whatsoever that there was going to be any justice at all. And the thing we were saying is, if we can just get that mother in a courtroom. Well, now he's going. And his secretary is she's got the receipts. And she's not willing to lie on his behalf.
Whatever dirt or manufacturing, whatever dirt they might be able to find on Miss Michael. But boy, it feels like it is so corroborative of so much else we know that, it just sort of builds on itself. There are other statements that are related in the reporting, like Donald Trump telling her, listen, you need to help spread the word that there are no more boxes. And Ms. Michael said, but there are more boxes. And lots of people here at Mar-a-Lago know it, Mr. President. So, this is so dramatically incriminating. And if Ms. Michael proves to be, a credible witness, a reliable person when she's testifying, this is devastating.
Just kind of building on that a little bit, can you explain what hearsay is? Because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about when you can believe what someone says and when you can't.
So hearsay is technically
Wow, that sucks. I just want to give praise to Brian Tyler Cohen again. He is a great interviewer. The question is, oh, it's my mic. Okay, well, anyway, it was a great question. I appreciate it, and I want to give Brian Tyler Cohen the due praise for asking, what is hearsay? Okay, I'm going to fix my mic off camera, but Glenn Kirshner, give us the breakdown and why it's important to know for this upcoming trial.
Defined as an out-of-court statement. That means a statement made out of court that is introduced as evidence in court to prove the truth of the substance of the statement, right? So let's run this to ground. If I were to testify about what other people said outside of court, I would not be allowed to offer that testimony because it would be hearsay, with one important exception. Anything said out of court by the defendant who is on trial is non-hearsay. It's an exception to the hearsay rule. It's called a statement of a party opponent. So anything Donald Trump said outside of court, a witness like Miss Michael can come in and testify about it, and it is not hearsay. However, an important footnote to that, Donald Trump's lawyers cannot introduce into evidence his statements. That's defined as hearsay. It's only when a party opponent, in other words, the prosecutor, tries to put the statements of the defendants into evidence, that it is non-hearsay. That is a real benefit to the way the rules of evidence are drafted. And that's why everything out of Donald Trump's mouth that's incriminating can be introduced as evidence by Jack Smith, but nothing that he says that is exonerating, that is helpful, like I declassified documents with my mind, none of that can see the light of day inside the courtroom because his attorneys aren't allowed to present it.
So when Molly Michael comes into court and kind of reveals what Donald Trump said to her, does the court assume that she's telling the truth because otherwise she would be opening herself up to perjury charges?
The court assumes nothing about the credibility of witnesses. It is completely within the province of the jury to make credibility assessments. They will eyeball every single witness. They'll assess what they're saying. They will watch their demeanor, their body language, the way they communicate. They will see whether what they're testifying to is supported by or contradicted by other evidence, written communications, emails, text messages, and prior statements that Miss Michael may have made. For example, if she confided in a friend after Donald Trump told her, "You don't know anything about the boxes the FBI is about to ask you about," that statement that Miss Michael makes, if her credibility is attacked, it can come in as a prior consistent statement. That's another exception to the hearsay rules. There are as many exceptions as there are prohibitions to the hearsay rules. So, no, that is entirely up to the jury to make that call. Either a witness is credible or is not credible. Either they're going to use their testimony to convict the defendant, or they're going to discard it because they don't believe that the witness is telling the truth.
Okay. And it's sad that I have to ask this, but is there any way that Judge Cannon could mess with Molly Michael's ability to testify so as to help the Trump team?
Another great question. Another great question. And let's be real. Cannon is looking for an opportunity to help Trump. Why? Why? Because there are two futures, and she knows it. One future, the Führer takes power and starts the new Reich, in which case she wants to be one of the Führer's favorite. And she also knows that if she plays it right, she can help Trump fail to allow him to get away with, stealing from you and me. Or rather, fail to, prevent any punishment for that. And not get punished by you and me. That sucks. What do we do about that? Nothing. It's what makes us the good guys. If anything, we take pride in that fact, that we will create an America which is safe enough to defy our will. Good. Now, that being said, let's not have any illusions about who she is and what she is going to try to do, what she has already tried to do. Make sure she knows we're watching. And if she steps out of line, if she pushes it too far, oh God, we're going to know. And she will have risen as high in her career as she will ever go, because we will never forget her. We will never allow anyone we elect ever again to raise her up. And if she manages to get shoved through the cracks by a dying political organization and crime family called the Republican Party, the very first people we elect after she gets raised up will have a priority of pushing her right back down. Because she does not belong in a position of power. But that said, understand that she knows that there is great reward for helping Donald Trump if he manages to retake power. And there is no punishment that will be had for trying and failing to help him. So long as she plays very strictly by the rules. And that's what we watch, to make sure she does her corruption within the rules that allow her to yada, yada, yada.
Based on the reporting we know about Miss Michaels, what she said, her status as a Trump executive assistant, there is nothing Judge Cannon can do to shut down the testimony of a witness who has sharply incriminating statements by the defendant who is on trial. I know we are all apprehensive about the way Judge Cannon might insert herself into the trial to Donald Trump's advantage. Goodness knows she's done it before. but there really is nothing that she can do to shut down the testimony of Miss Michael.
And as of right now, I know that another issue for everybody is that we're expecting to
be continued, you beautiful otter. Environmental Coffee House, hello. And hey, you're never late. You arrive precisely when you mean to. The Emo Dragon, hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Pinkerbell, the Ken Paxton trial went deep into what is and isn't hearsay. True. Pinkerbell, she's eyeballing a Supreme Court nomination. Oh, for sure. That is something we must ensure never happens. She already demonstrated that she does not have the judgment for that court. Yeah, and I also want to say, Environmental Coffee House, if you're going on at 9, I might be wrapped up by then. But if I'm not, what we're doing tonight is a weird stream, and it's designed intentionally to be. So my heart shall not break if you got to go do your thing too. Remember, when we are on at the same time, we are growing the progressive community. There is no shame in that. And also remember, we make the majority of our views from VOD content. You will get 95% more views on your VOD than you will on your live stream. It's just the way it works. So you will not be hurting me, is all I'm saying. And folks, if you want to go check out their live stream, think of it like, crazy as it might sound, TV back in the day. You can flip between channels. You can say hi to either. It's all good. Plus, by just talking in here now, you have made my stream more visible. I can't thank you enough. But I can try. Thank you. All right, so let's finish this breakdown. I love Brian Tyler Cohen's ability to look like a Renaissance painting frequently.
To see more delays happen in this trial so as to push that May 2024 date farther out. Is there anything that would suggest that we will see a delay in this trial as of now?
You know, I do have the sense, based on the reporting, that Judge Cannon has been slow walking some of her rulings, but thus far she has not tried to alter the May trial date. So, you know, as of right now, it's still on track to go to trial in May. Again, if I had to bet my dollar, that's my betting limit, I'm not a high roller, I would probably put the buck on the trial date slipping, not actually proceeding in May, but Judge Cannon finding reasons to grant motions to continue the trial date, which will inevitably be filed by Trump's team.
Okay, and finally, let's end with this. You did bring up the idea of Donald Trump testifying at this trial.
I got to touch on that a little bit. Just a itty bitty little bit. Notice what he was saying there. She will try to find ways to help Donald Trump by delaying this trial. Try to find ways. As in, the thing to be on the lookout for is that she will be searching for ways to let Trump get away with the crime, or to help Trump's political aims, or to help Trump pursue whatever it is he wants to do within the rules. And you can understand who she is based upon that. What did we say? She is investing with her corruption into one future where Donald Trump becomes the Führer. And she is at the same time being careful not to overinvest, because, and this is where you can take a little bit of heart, because she is safe in the future that we control so long as she follows the law. And that tells you a lot about the character of the two parties that are in control right now. And I cannot think of a finer endorsement for the Democrats than that. I look forward to a day when we have something better than the Democrats. I'm trying to work with you to help build that. I'm trying to make the Democrats the opposition. But until that happens, that's the team we play for. And it's not satisfying that Judge Cannon views a future where we are in control as one where she's safe, but understand that it's a good thing that she knows that she will be safe so long as she follows the rules. That means that even the villains understand the truth of who these people are on both sides.
Do you expect that Donald Trump would be well served by testifying at any of his impending trials?
No, Donald Trump cannot be placed under oath, swear to tell the truth. I mean, after being asked his name, I would be dubious about whether he could answer any other question truthfully. We've seen some snapshots, right, of deposition testimony that he's given previously, and it's been an absolute train wreck for him and his credibility. So I don't think, and I think he's a coward at his core. I don't think there's any way he's going to want to sit up in front of 12 citizens sitting in a jury box as the conscience of the community, judging his credibility. Because I got to tell you, Brian, cross-examination by a prosecutor of Donald Trump would be the highlight of that prosecutor's career. And I think any prosecutor would do it for free if given the opportunity.
And you look at how he incriminates himself even when he's not on trial. I mean, he spoke with Meet the Press this weekend, and he said it was all his decision to move forward with all of the events that he's currently on trial for in Washington, D.C.
He actually took away a defense he might have otherwise had.
Was that the advice of counsel defense?
It's the advice of counsel defense. It's a beautiful thing. He could have said, well, I was relying on the advice of counsel when I, bought into the fake elector scheme, or when I was being told that the election was rigged and that there was lots of fraud undermining the election's results. And when I was being told that Mike Pence really had the constitutional authority to just toss out the electoral votes and install me for a second term. I was just relying on the advice of counsel, what my attorneys were saying. And I use a more relatable example of if I'm filling out my tax returns and a tax attorney or a tax preparer says, yeah, Glenn, you can take that deduction. So I do. And then the IRS comes calling and they say, Glenn, you're not allowed to take that deduction. What do I say? Advice of counsel. My tax lawyer, my tax preparer told me I could. That is actually a legitimate, viable defense in the criminal law to some offenses. Donald Trump went on air with Kristen Welker and said, I wasn't really relying on counsel. I was relying on my own instincts. Well, guess what? There's no such thing as advice of your own instincts defense. So Donald Trump just took away another potential defense his lawyers might have been able to use at trial.
And something tells me it's not the last one. So for anybody watching, we'll obviously stay on top of this stuff. If you
etc., etc. Hopefully I have the right thing. I surely did. Oh, look at that. My dogs are goth. Enjoy listening. And thank you for chatting with us. Pinkerbell. Oh, well, never mind then. Oh, let me jump back up. Enjoy the changeover to well-maintained roads. Okay. Let me instead I see interesting chat. I want to go into it. But since I'm recording a segment, let me put the cap on that. Trump is fucked. He's screwed. He has zero chance of somehow displaying that he didn't break the law, because he very clearly broke the law. At least I think, based on what I've seen so far, based on the words he has said. He can't shut the up. He refuses to listen to lawyers who are begging him to shut the up. If you've never been a ne'er-do-well, or you don't have family that practices law, nobody's a court reporter, nobody's a lawyer, nobody's a judge in your family. I'll let you in on the bane of every lawyer, and that's a client that won't shut the up. You can be totally in the right with your case and still have a client talk their way out of a victory. And if your client actually did the thing but you're still defending him anyway. Let's even put you in the nicest light. It's because you believe everybody has a right to fair counsel, competent counsel, and yada, yada, yada. The worst thing in the world is a motor mouth for a client. It is literally the kind of thing that makes people give up their law career, a well-paid job, and just switch. You'll usually hear them say something like, "Well, I do contract law now," or "Oh, well, I'm just an arbiter now. I don't argue cases in court anymore." The thing that burns them out is loudmouth clients. Almost every time, almost every single time. That's how devastating it is for a case. Trump is the ultimate loudmouth client. And even worse for him, he appears to be guilty as sin. We'll see. We have to hear it out in court and all of that. I'm just saying, from what I've seen so far, good God. I look forward very much to the next 8 or so months as Trump just gets his ass whipped in a court of law. Good, he's got this whipping coming.